You know, I've always said that the greatest gift we have is our time. And how we choose to spend that time, well, that's the real kicker, isn't it? Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Picture two people, both given the same 24 hours in a day. One of them, let's call him Joe. He's always complaining about not having enough time. The other, we will name her Sarah. She's out there making things happen, squeezing every drop of potential out of her day. What's the difference between Joe and Sarah? It's not the time they have. We all get the same 24 hours. No, the difference is in how they choose to use that time. And that, my friends, is what we're going to talk about today. Forcing yourself to be active day by day. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Force myself? That sounds like hard work. Well, let me tell you something. Anything worth having in this life requires effort. Success isn't going to fall into your lap while you're sitting on the couch, remote in hand, flipping through channels. No, sir. Success is out there, waiting for you to get up and grab it. Let's break this down, shall we? When I say force yourself to be active, I'm not talking about running marathons every day or working 20-hour shifts. What I'm talking about is making a conscious decision every single day. It's about creating habits that push you forward inch by inch, day by day. You see, success is not about making one big leap. It's about taking small, consistent steps in the right direction. It's like building a brick wall. You don't just slap all the bricks up at once and call it a day. No, you lay one brick at a time as perfectly as you can, and before you know it, you've built something substantial. Now, let me ask you this. How many of you have ever said, I'll start tomorrow? Come on, be honest. We've all been there. We've all put things off thinking we'll have more time, more energy, more motivation tomorrow. But here's the hard truth. Tomorrow never comes. There's only today. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment to start, you'll be waiting forever. I remember a young man I met once. Let's call him Tom. Tom had big dreams. He wanted to start his own business, write a book, travel the world. But every time I saw Tom, he had the same refrain. I'm just waiting for the right time. Years went by and Tom was still waiting. Meanwhile, life was passing him by. Just don't be like Tom. Don't wait for the right time. Make the time right. Force yourself to take that first step, no matter how small it might seem. Because here's the thing. Once you start moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. It's like pushing a boulder down a hill. The hardest part is getting it to budge, but once it's rolling, it picks up momentum on its own. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but Jim, I'm just not motivated all the time. And to that I say, good, because motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes like the wind. What you need is discipline. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when motivation is still hitting the snooze button. Discipline is what keeps you going when the excitement wears off and the real work begins. Let me share a little secret with you. Successful people, and I mean truly successful people, they don't rely on motivation. They've built habits, routines that keep them active and productive regardless of how they feel. They've trained themselves to take action, even when they don't feel like it. Think about it this way. Do you brush your teeth every day because you're motivated to do so? No, you do it because it's a habit. You do it because you know it's good for you in the long run. That's the kind of mindset you need to adopt when it comes to being active in pursuit of your goals. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Changing your habits, forcing yourself to be active, it's going to be uncomfortable at first. But remember this, growth happens outside of your comfort zone. If you're always comfortable, you're not growing. And if you're not growing, you're dying. Let me tell you about a little experiment I like to do. Every morning, when I wake up, I make my bed. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal about making a bed? Well, it's not about the bed. It's about starting your day with a small accomplishment. It's about setting the tone for the rest of your day. Because if you can't do the small things right, how can you expect to do the big things? This is what I mean by forcing yourself to be active. It's about creating these small daily habits that compound over time. It's about doing the things you know you should do, even when you don't feel like doing them. Now, let's talk about procrastination for a moment. Procrastination is the thief of time, and time, my friends, is the stuff life is made of. When you procrastinate, you're not just putting off a task, you're putting off your life. You say, my goals, my dreams, they can wait. But here's the thing, life won't wait for you. Time marches on, whether you're ready or... I once heard a story about a man who wanted to plant a tree. He kept putting it off, thinking, I'll do it next year. 5 years passed, and he still hadn't planted the tree. Finally, he realized that if he had planted it when he first thought about it, he'd already have a good-sized tree providing shade in his yard. Don't be that man. Plant your trees today. You see, every day that you're not working towards your goals is a day lost. It's a day you can never get back. And those days add up. Weeks turn to months, months turn into years, and before you know it, you're looking back wondering where all the time went. But it doesn't have to be that way. You have the power to change your life starting right now. You have the ability to force yourself to be active, to take those small daily steps towards your goals. And let me tell you, the feeling of progress, of knowing you're moving forward, there's nothing quite like it. Now, I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about where you want to be 5 years from now. What do you want your life to look like? What goals do you want to have achieved? Got it? Now, here's the million-dollar question. What are you doing today to make that vision a reality? You see, your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. Every action you take, every decision you make, it's all shaping your future. And if you're not taking action, if you're not making decisions that move you forward, then you're letting your future slip away. Let me give you an example. Say you want to write a book. Now, writing a book seems like a daunting task, doesn't it? But what if, instead of thinking about writing an entire book, you committed to writing just 1 page a day? 1 page. That's not so scary, is it? But do you know what happens if you write 1 page every day for a year? You end up with a 365-page book. That's a full-length novel, my friends. All from just 1 page a day. That's the power of forcing yourself to be active day by day. It's about breaking down your big goals into small, manageable actions. It's about doing a little bit every day, consistently, without fail. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Jim, I'm just too busy. I don't have time to add anything else to my day. And to that I say, make time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's not about having time, it's about making time. Look at your daily routine. Where are you wasting time? Are you spending hours scrolling through your phone? Watching too much television? These are time sinks, my friends. They're robbing you of your most precious resource, your time. Instead of mindlessly consuming, start creating. Instead of watching others live their lives, start living yours. Force yourself to be active. Use that time to work on your goals, to learn new skills, to improve yourself. Remember, every minute you spend is an investment. You're either investing in your future or you're throwing your time away. And trust me, compound interest works in personal development just as it does in finance. Small, consistent investments of time and effort will yield massive returns down the line. Now, I want to address something that I hear a lot. People often say, I'm waiting for inspiration to strike. Let me tell you something. Inspiration is for amateurs. Professionals show up and do the work day in and day out, regardless of how they feel. Think about it. Do you think a professional athlete only trains when they feel inspired? Do you think a successful business person only works when motivation strikes? Of course not. They show up every day, they put in the work, they force themselves to be. You see, action often precedes motivation. When you start moving, when you start doing, that's when the motivation comes. That's when you start to feel energized, excited about what you're doing. But you have to take that first step. You have to force yourself to be active. Let me share a little trick with you. It's called the 5-minute rule. When you're struggling to get started on something, tell yourself you'll only do it for 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Anyone can do anything for 5 minutes, right? But here's what often happens. Once you start, Once you get over that initial hump of resistance, you find yourself wanting to continue. Those 5 minutes turn into 10, then 20, and before you know it, you've put in a solid hour of work. That's the power of forcing yourself to be active. It's about overcoming that initial inertia, that resistance to getting started, because once you're in motion, it's much easier to stay in motion. Now let's talk about consistency for a moment. Consistency is the key to success in any endeavor. It's not about making massive changes overnight. It's about making small, consistent changes over time. It's about showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it, even when you can't see immediate results. Think about water dripping on a rock. One drop of water isn't going to do much, but drop after drop, day after day, year after year, that water can carve through solid rock. That's the power of consistency. That's the power of forcing yourself to be active day by day. You see, success is not about intensity. It's about consistency. It's not about working yourself to the bone for a week and then burning out. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work, making steady progress towards your goals. Now, I want you to think about something. Think about the person you want to become, the successful, accomplished version of yourself that you dream about. Got that image in your mind? Good. Now, ask yourself this, what would that person do today? What itches would they take? What habits would they have? You see, success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And you become that person by the actions you take every day, by forcing yourself to be active, by doing the things that successful people do. You're shaping yourself into the person who achieves those goals. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young woman who dreamed of running a marathon, but she had never run more than a mile in her life. Now, she could have easily said, "I'm not a runner. I could never do a marathon." But instead, she decided to force herself to be active. She started small, just running for 5 minutes a day, then 10 minutes, then 15. Day by day, she built up her endurance. Some days were hard. Some days she didn't want to run at all. But she forced herself to be active. She showed up, put on her running shoes, and hit the pavement. And you know what? 6 months later, she ran her first marathon. Not because she was naturally gifted, not because it was easy, but because she forced herself to be active day by day. That's the power of consistent action. That's the power of forcing yourself to be active. You see, extraordinary results come from ordinary actions repeated day in and day out. Now, I want to address something that holds a lot of people back: fear of failure. Many people don't take action because they're afraid of failing. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Every successful person you admire has failed countless times. The difference is they didn't let those failures stop them. They forced themselves to be active, to keep moving forward despite the setbacks. Remember this, failure is an event, not a person. Just because you fail at something doesn't make you a failure. It makes you someone who had the courage to try. And if you keep trying, if you keep forcing yourself to be active, eventually you will succeed. You see, life is not about avoiding failure. It's about learning from failure. It's about using those experiences to grow, to improve, to become better. And the only way to do that is to keep taking action, to keep forcing yourself to be active. Now let's talk about discipline for a moment. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's what keeps you going when motivation fades. It's what forces you to be active even when you don't feel like it. But here's the thing about discipline. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you force yourself to be active, every time you do what needs to be done despite not feeling like it, you're strengthening that discipline muscle. And let me tell you, a strong discipline muscle is one of the most valuable assets you can have in life. It's what separates the successful from the unsuccessful. It's what turns dreams into reality. So how do you build this discipline muscle? By starting small, by forcing yourself to be active in little ways every day. Maybe it's making your bed every morning. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes before bed. Maybe it's doing 5 push-ups as soon as you wake up. These small actions might not seem like much, but they add up. They build that discipline muscle. They create momentum. And here's the beautiful thing. As you build this discipline, as you force yourself to be active day by day, it starts to become easier. What once felt like a chore becomes a habit. What once required willpower becomes automatic. You start to become the kind of person who takes action, who gets things done, who achieves their goals. Now, I want to talk about something that's crucial to forcing yourself to be active: your environment. You see, your environment plays a huge role in your behavior. If you're surrounded by lazy people, guess what? It's going to be a lot harder to force yourself to be active. If your workspace is cluttered and disorganized, it's going to be harder to focus and take action. So part of forcing yourself to be active is creating an environment that supports your goals. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who push you to be better. Create a workspace that energizes you, that makes you want to take action. Fill your mind with positive, motivating content that encourages you to be active. Remember, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So choose wisely. Surround yourself with people who force themselves to be active, who are constantly growing and improving. Their habits will rub off on you. Now, let's talk about the power of momentum. You see, when you force yourself to be active, when you start taking consistent action towards your goals, you create momentum. And momentum is a powerful force. Think about a rocket ship. It uses most of its fuel just to break free from the Earth's atmosphere. But once it's in space, it can coast along with minimal effort. That's what momentum does for you. The hardest part is getting started, forcing yourself to take those first few actions. But once you've built up momentum, it becomes so much easier to keep going. That's why it's so important to force yourself to be active every single day. Even if it's just a small action, it keeps that momentum going. It keeps you moving forward, and before you know it, you're making progress you never thought possible. Now, I want you to think about something. Think about all the dreams you have, all the goals you want to achieve. Think about the person you want to become. Now, I want you to ask yourself this: what's stopping you? What's holding you back from forcing yourself to be active, from taking those steps towards your dreams? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it laziness? Whatever it is, I want you to recognize it for what it is: an excuse. And excuses are nothing more than lies we tell ourselves to avoid taking action. You see, at the end of the day, you have a choice. You can choose to make excuses, or you can choose to make progress. You can choose to wait for the perfect moment, or you can choose to create the perfect moment by taking action. You can choose to let life happen to you, or you can choose to make life happen for you. And that choice, my friends, is what forcing yourself to be active is all about. It's about choosing progress over perfection. It's about choosing action over inaction. It's about choosing growth over stagnation. Now, I want to share something with you that I've learned over the years. Success leaves clues. If you want to be successful, if you want to achieve your goals, look at the people who have already done what you want to do. Study their habits, their mindset, their approach to life. And you know what you'll find? You'll find that they all have one thing in common. They force themselves to be active day in and day out. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They create their own motivation. They make every moment perfect through their actions. They understand that the key to success is not in sporadic bursts of effort, but in consistent daily action. Let me give you an example. Think about building a house. You don't build a house in a day. You build it brick by brick, day by day. Some days you might lay 100 bricks, other days you might only lay 10. But as long as you're laying bricks every day, eventually you'll have a house. That's what forcing yourself to be active is all about. It's about laying those bricks every single day, no matter what. It's about taking those small actions that over time add up to something incredible. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Jim, what if I don't feel like I'm making progress? What if I can't see the results of my actions? And to that I say, trust the process. Results take time. Change takes time. But if you're taking action every day, if you're forcing yourself to be active, you are making progress, whether you can see it or not. Think about a farmer planting seeds. He doesn't plant the seeds one day and expect to see a fully grown crop the next. No. He tends to his field every day, watering it, nurturing it, even when there's nothing visible above the ground. He trusts the process. He knows that as long as he's taking the right actions every day, eventually he'll see the results. You need to have that same mindset. Trust that your daily actions, your commitment to being active, will yield results. It might take weeks, it might take months, it might even take years. But if you stay consistent, if you keep forcing yourself to be active, you will see results. Now let's talk about something that's crucial to staying active, your mindset. You see, your mind is the most powerful tool you have. It can be your greatest asset or your biggest obstacle. It all depends on how you use it. If you constantly tell yourself that you can't do something, that it's too hard, that you're not good enough, guess what? You're going to struggle to force yourself to be active. You're going to find excuses to avoid taking action. But if you cultivate a positive mindset, if you tell yourself that you can do it, that you're capable of greatness, that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, well, then forcing yourself to be active becomes a whole lot easier. It's like I always say, you become what you think about most of the time. So if you want to be someone who's active, who takes consistent action towards their goals, you need to think like that person. You need to see yourself as that person. Start your day with positive affirmations. Tell yourself, I am the kind of person who takes action. I am disciplined. I am committed to my goals. And then prove it to yourself by forcing yourself to be active, by taking those small daily actions that move you forward. Now, I want to address something that holds a lot of people back. Perfectionism. You see, perfectionism is the enemy of action. It's the voice in your head that says, it's not good enough yet. You need to wait until it's perfect. But here's the truth, nothing will ever be perfect. And if you wait for perfection, you'll be waiting forever. Instead of striving for perfection, strive for progress, force yourself to be active, to take imperfect action. Because imperfect action is infinitely better than perfect inaction. Remember, you can always improve, you can always refine, but you can't improve on nothing. You need to start somewhere. Think about it this way. Every masterpiece starts with a rough draft. Every great business starts with a simple idea. Every journey starts with a single step. Your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to start, to take that first step, and then to keep stepping day after day. Now let's talk about something that's crucial to staying active. Your why. Your why is your purpose, your reason for doing what you do. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's what keeps you going when things get tough. You see, forcing yourself to be active is a lot easier when you have a strong why. When you know exactly what you're working towards, when you have a clear vision of what you want to achieve, it becomes much easier to take those daily actions. So I want you to think about your why. Why do you want to achieve your goals? Why is it important to you? What will it mean for your life, for your loved ones, for the world? Get clear on your why and let it fuel your actions. Remember, when your why is strong enough, you'll figure out how. When your purpose is clear, you'll find the strength to force yourself to be active, even on the days when you don't feel like it. Now I want to share a little secret with you. One of the best ways to force yourself to be active is to make a public commitment. Tell people about your goals. Share your progress. Make yourself accountable. You see, when you keep your goals to yourself, it's easy to slack off. It's easy to make excuses, but when you tell others about what you're working towards, when you make yourself accountable, it becomes a lot harder to back down. You're not just letting yourself down anymore. You're letting others down too. So don't be afraid to share your goals. Don't be afraid to ask for support. Surround yourself with people who will cheer you on, who will push you to keep going, who will hold you accountable to your commitments. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked when it comes to staying active. Rest and recovery. You see, forcing yourself to be active doesn't mean working yourself to the bone 24/7. It doesn't mean neglecting your health or your relationships. In fact, proper rest and recovery are crucial to staying active in the long run. Think about it like this. If you're driving a car, you can't just keep driving forever. Eventually, you need to stop for gas, for maintenance. Your body and mind are the same way. You need to take time to recharge, to recover, to reflect on your progress. But here's the key. Rest is not the same as inaction. Even on your rest days, you can still take small actions towards your goals. Maybe it's reading a book related to your field. Maybe it's meditating to clear your mind. Maybe it's planning your next steps. The point is, you're still moving forward, still forcing yourself to be active, just in a different way. Now, I want to address something that stops a lot of people from taking action, the fear of the unknown. You see, when you force yourself to be active, when you start taking consistent action towards your goals, you're stepping into the unknown. You're leaving your comfort zone, and that can be scary. But here's the thing. The unknown is where all the opportunities are. It's where growth happens. It's where miracles occur. So instead of fearing the unknown, embrace it. See it as an adventure, as an opportunity to learn and grow. Remember, every great achievement in history was once unknown territory. The Wright brothers didn't know for sure if human flight was possible. Thomas Edison didn't know for sure if he could create a working light bulb. But they forced themselves to be active, to take action despite the uncertainty. And look at what you have, that same potential within you. You have the ability to achieve great things, to make a real difference in the world. But it all starts with action. It all starts with forcing yourself to be active day by day. Now, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next 30 days, I want you to commit to forcing yourself to be active every single day. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be as simple as reading for 15 minutes, or doing 10 push-ups, or writing down 3 things you're grateful for. The point is not what you do, but that you do something, that you take action every single day, no matter what. No excuses, no days off. Force yourself to be active for 30 days straight. And here's what I promise you. At the end of those 30 days, you'll be a different person. You'll have built new habits. You'll have strengthened your discipline muscle. You'll have created momentum. And most importantly, you'll have proven to yourself that you have what it takes to force yourself to be active, to take consistent action towards your goals. Remember, success is not about making one big leap. It's about taking small steps every single day. It's about forcing yourself to be active, even when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up day after day and putting in the work. So, my friends, what are you waiting for? Your future is out there waiting for you to create it. Your dreams are waiting for you to turn them into reality. But it all starts with action. It all starts with forcing yourself to be active day by day. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create the perfect moment through your actions. Don't wait for motivation. Create motivation through your actions. Don't wait for success to come to you. Go out there and create your own success through consistent daily action. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And that step, my friends, is yours to take. So take it, force yourself to be active, start today, start now. Because if not now, when? If not you, your time is now. Your moment is here. Seize it, embrace it, and most importantly, act on it. Force yourself to be active day by day and watch as your life transforms before your very eyes. Thank you. And remember, the future belongs to those who take action today. So go out there and make it happen.